Is that another one I smell?
Episode 3, here we go.
Episode 3.
Trace, give it to me.
Now, why aren't we talking to people? Let them know. Get it out. Shout at the rooftops. This is the bee's knees.
The Misinformed.
Octagon.
Update.
Shut up and sit down.
Another one.
Episode 3, baby.
We're coming back at you right now live with another episode from Highly Misinformed Octagon Update. We've got Nick, Anthony, Jim in the studio, and we're going to give you some hot topics such as Conor McGregor, some new developments with him, Israel Adesanya's historic sponsorship, as well as Michael Chandler entering the UFC. He's going to be a bomb in the division. So I guess let's get right into it.
Let's go.
Michael Chandler, what do you guys think about him?
What do you know about Michael Chandler?
Besides, he's a Greek god. Besides, he has the body of Hercules, but a smaller.
First team all body.
frame.
First team all body.
I just hope USADA stays away from him for.
So Michael Chandler recently just ripped a deal with the UFC. He's going to be the backup for Khabib versus Gaethje. And if one of them pulls out, he's going to go right in. And basically, he's been training. And yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy that he skirted USADA.
Yeah,
basically skipped the whole process.
But I did find this out, guys, that so the whole USADA 6-month thing, that's only if you are retired. If you're a new person entering the pool, you actually can fight right away. That's why all the people, like for instance, if you don't make the Contender series, if Dana White doesn't pick you up from the Contender series, he will call you last minute sometimes, because we've seen that recently in fight nights where he just calls someone 24 hours. They didn't know they were fighting. Last minute replacement. They're not under USADA under that technically. So if it's a new fighter, they can skirt the 6-month suspension thing that they give. It's only for retirees. So that's why Conor kind of had that 6-month delay, because he actually was retired. If Henry Cejudo came back, he'd have to do the same thing. So Michael Chandler, he's good to go. He's good to fight right now.
which is awesome. Everyone wants to see him fight.
What was his deal? Was there any breaking news on the deal? Obviously, usually when the UFC gives a deal, it's a 6-fight deal. I didn't get any specifics about pay or anything. Did you guys see anything?
I didn't see any specifics, but personally, I think it's a good idea to have a backup in this climate. We've got COVID going on like crazy, and it's important to have someone being able to step in case anyone tests positive. Because who knows
Very
when
true,
that's gonna
very
happen.
true.
It's a great new addition, though, to mix up the lightweight division, because it's already stacked. But some people are questionable, Conor included, because we don't know if he's going to fight again in 2021. So
Well, Dana's telling us all that he's gonna be fighting, and even Conor's agent. This is a quote from Conor's agent. We had some very interesting talks with the UFC recently. We're excited about the future and working on some fun things. Excited to come in the near future.
he says he's going to be a billionaire by the time he's 35. So
But more about
we'll see,
Michael
folks.
Chandler, though. So Michael Chandler, he is now, because he's the quote-unquote fill-in for the Gaethje-Khabib fight, he is now listed, he should be listed as the number 1 contender and be thought as the number 1 contender in the lightweight UFC pool, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because if he's skirting the line and he's going to fill in for a title fight, that's already the number 1 contender spot. You know what I
Pretty
mean?
unprecedented when you think about the UFC just having this guy. I mean, he's obviously a killer, but it's just putting him right to the top.
It's a little unprecedented, but not out of the realm, considering he is tied for the most wins in Bellator. He has one of the most knockouts in Bellator, tied for that. And I think he's tied for the most. I think he's actually just has the most championship defenses in Bellator.
He dominated Henderson twice now, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So
The man's a killer, and he needs better competition, and the UFC is about to give it to him.
please, USADA, stay away from him. Let us see the
But
fight.
at the same time, he might just have good genetics, because me and Anthony were watching him, and the guy's yoked and he's weight training.
Weight training. Yeah, which is very unusual for most MMA fighters.
They weight train, but not like he was doing. Like he was doing like shrugs, leg lunges, like
It's more a full bodybuilder exercise
Yes.
as opposed to just
putting on mass, you know. And I don't know how his cardio is, but he's a wrestler and he's an all-around fighter, so you would think that would hinder him in the cage, but obviously it hasn't this far. So keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Oh,
It'd be interesting to see what he comes out to on a 5th round fight, if he has the gas tank or not.
yeah.
Very, very true. So I'm glad to see him. I'm curious why they didn't put him versus Ferguson. You know?
Yeah. I mean, they have to give Gaethje the shot first to.
True. So why didn't they give Ferguson versus Chandler?
Ferguson wanted to fight the Diamond. He did pretty much everything he could to fight Dustin. I think he almost offered to pay Dustin or something like that to fight him. That was
Yes.
just, hearsay.
And Dana basically came out and said it wasn't about negotiations. It was Dustin didn't want to fight. There's a lot of ways to get out of a fight, and one of them is saying negotiations fell through. Then the Diamond recently after that tweeted saying, "No, I want to fight Tony. I want to fight." So
I think it's a money issue.
I think it was I think Dana White didn't want to release it. It was a money issue because if he said it was a money issue, he would have to then talk about money, and he doesn't like to pay his fighters, to be honest.
That's for sure.
We all know that.
Speaking of people not getting paid, Jones, when are we going to see Jones? Is he ever going to come back this year or next year? How long do you think it's going to take for him to get up big enough to compete in the heavyweight division?
Say 3 months, maybe.
3 months, you think?
Yeah.
I think he needs a lot more time than that.
Jones is
They don't
putting
even
on
have a
weight
name for him
already.
yet.
Jones is already putting on mass.
But they don't have any match for him yet. They don't have any.
He's waiting for a title defense, or title fight, I should say. It's not a defense anymore.
They have to give Ngannou his shot first,
His shot.
and then Jones should be
Yes.
in talks.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So he fights the winner of Francis Stipe, but more about Conor McGregor. So what has Conor McGregor been doing recently?
Conor recently released a picture of him and his wife Dee Devlin in a waiting room, saying that they're not worried at all, saying they're fine and they're holding together, and it's just straight allegations, which would make sense because he was taken into custody and then released.
So, couple, what were these allegations that everyone's talking about?
Apparently he was walking into a restroom at a bar, and a female accused him of revealing his genitals to her as he was approaching the bathroom.
Show me your genitals.
I heard all his
genitals.
bodyguards were all with him too, which they would be. If he's in the
Bodyguards.
club. Yeah, all of them.
So Dana White was even quoted saying, "This kid is going to spend all of his money on security alone." He's like, the type of security this guy needs just to go out and have a coffee is ridiculous. And he's like, I was taking it all, how much he spends on security. But then he's like, he actually needs it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he gets mobbed just at the blackjack table from all his fans and everyone. And this is in America. I could only imagine what it is in Europe, you know?
Yeah.
He's a bigger star in Europe.
Way more popular.
You got to wonder how much money that guy who, when the guy he had his cell phone in his face, and he took his cell phone and threw it down.
The old man?
Now, the old man got punched in the bar. I'm talking about this, I guess it would have been an old man, yeah.
Okay.
But he threw this guy's cell phone. You got to wonder how much money that guy made off of
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Conor throwing his cell phone to the ground. So you got to wonder how many people come up to Conor and just try to instigate and try
Yes.
to start a fight. I mean, Conor could obviously win any fight ever, really, but
A bar fight, for sure.
there's a
Bar
reason
fight.
he has that security. I feel bad for Conor.
Well, didn't
though.
you see what his lawyer said? What his lawyer quoted? He's like, Conor will not be subject to instigating and basically be peppered with allegations that are just trying to make a money play. You know what I mean?
Play the victim. Yeah.
So do you think it was one of those classic examples of the restaurant having an open type restroom and he's just at the John walking to the sink and he's buttoning himself? Or do you think it was really Conor flagrant, like exposing himself to a lady on vacation with her
Well,
husband?
this is like what, the second or third time with these allegation charges, or these allegations, I should say. But I don't know. It's starting to become a pattern here. I do not know whether to believe it or not. He has a wife, so I don't know why he would be doing this. Obviously, if you're drunk...
She would be more concerned, too. You'd probably hear something from her in the press if it was...
Well, she's a
big
ride or
deal,
die. She just shuts her
she's loyal
trap.
and believes him, obviously.
True. Which, he's the moneymaker, so you go with the hand that feeds you.
When he threw the dolly at the bus, he was charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor assault and 1 count felony criminal mischief. That was April 2018.
Yeah, that was off the hinge. That was probably his worst
But
thing he's done.
you got to think, was he doing that just to hype up the pay-per-view? I
but
think
he
a
hurt
little
somebody,
bit.
so
I think a little bit.
It was a little bit over the edge. So
I agree with you.
yeah.
And he had a
Physically hurt
set of
somebody?
goons with him. So I don't know. I don't know if he did this or not. Obviously, it's going to be sorted out in court. He's probably just going to have to pay off this woman, which that's what she wanted anyways, probably. Let's be honest.
That's what his legal team's saying, is that they're not going to be paying this woman off. They're not going to take this crap because he didn't do anything wrong. He denies any wrongdoing.
If he didn't show his genitals to her, maybe he was just drunk and put his pants down a little early.
A little late.
Yeah.
A little late. After he did the business.
Pulled his pants
and
down a little.
was
Oh,
walking
it was.
out and
He
did-
was walking out. I thought he was going to the restroom.
Now that's unclear. That's unclear. But the fact was, I was in the restroom, so there is.
It was in the restroom.
Yeah.
So
Why is the woman in the
afterwards would
restroom
be-
with him?
It was probably one of those.
Forget-
It was probably one of those restaurants where the doors are open, and it's just that weird kind of situation where you got to make sure you're put together before you walk to the sink.
So he was drunk,
Yeah.
and it's Conor McGregor, so he's probably has a hog, and he was probably waving and helicoptering it around, and was like, "Yo, look at my dick." That, or like you said, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He just couldn't get his shit together, walking out. Which we'll just go with that.
He will now.
Shout out Conor McGregor.
We got to figure it out. We got to get the security team, his personal security detail, to weigh in on this one because we're not really sure what's going on. But they did. D. Devlin and Connor did post, "Do we look worried?" in the waiting room. So they're definitely sticking to story and staying together on this one.
It's good to hear.
That's good.
It's exciting to see what is going to happen in 2021. It sounds like nothing. He's not going to be in any trouble for this.
I don't think he's going to get in trouble, and he tweeted out he's training and he's looking for another fight here soon, which he should always be looking for fight. When Connor's fighting, he doesn't get into trouble.
Yep.
So,
It's like John Jones.
yeah, like John
Same
Jones.
thing.
Good example.
Who should Connor fight next?
Connor? Whoever they're going to give him, to be honest.
Yep.
He can fight anybody.
Anybody.
He can fight
Michael
anybody.
Chandler, give him anybody.
Give him Nick Diaz, to be honest. Give him Nick Diaz.
Give Nick Diaz.
Give him Nick Diaz at 170.
Okay, I can see that. See him losing that one again, I guess. So looking at UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Woodley in the Apex Center. This is Fight Night 11, September 19th, 2020.
This is probably the most stacked fight night in ESPN history, to be honest. What do you guys think?
It ended with a bang, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the most notable fight, what do you guys think the most notable one was?
There were all kinds of notable things that happened.
The
but
biggest
definitely
fight of the night.
Covington and Woodley.
Covington Woodley. The animosity was real, folks.
They hate each other and still do.
So it was MAGA versus Black Lives Matter. And yeah, Covington showed his hand. That's for sure.
There's all kinds of politics in this one.
Oh, yeah.
The Donald Trump called Covington after the fight. He wanted to congratulate him and tell him on a great job that he did. And he did do a great job against Woodley, walking him down and really just dominated the entire fight. Woodley probably tapped at the end. I'm not sure if there was a serious injury, but it looked like it was more self-inflicted than anything.
So let's just break down the fight here. Covington Woodley. What did you guys think were the takeaway of the actual fight?
Woodley's fading at the end of the fifth round based on the fact that his cardio is not good anymore at 38 years old. And Colby is in his prime and looking to make a run back at the title.
So Colby Covington, he's a pressure fighter, and yeah, he was pushing Woodley, and Woodley cannot handle the pressure. Although I was very surprised, Woodley did wrestle decent with him. He got backed up against the cage, and he would scramble out of it, but then Covington, he's a bad motherfucker. He would always put him back in, keep working. He broke his will, and yeah, that was all she wrote. In the fifth round, he couldn't take anymore and just basically verbally tapped That's what I'll
Yes, he
call it.
did. Yes, he did. Covington made Woodley look bad. I mean, I think there was a lack of aggression and a lack of effort on Woodley's side because the man is yoked, and even at the end of that fight, I didn't even think he was breathing that hard. Even in the beginning and in the middle of that fight, I didn't think he was pushing himself as hard as he should have to beat Covington.
At this point in the stage, I have to feel like Woodley, it's just a mindset for him. Like, he has it still. Like, he has all the attributes to be a great fighter, but he's just afraid to, go that extra mile, maybe put it into fifth gear, you know what I mean? Like, he never really had to do this before because he was getting quick knockouts. So maybe we never really saw this side of Woodley. And his will to be broken is pretty easy in the last couple fights.
He's not throwing his hands at all. He's not giving the effort that he needs to.
He was not throwing his hands. Covington coming with the pressure. His wrestling was just another level.
It's a bad cut, by the way. That cut looked nasty.
And Covington said that he didn't want to go on, so he took the easy way out.
And Colby was comfortable the entire time, the entire fight.
That's where he wanted to be.
He loves this.
Chaotic Covington.
Yep, for sure. Now, let me ask you guys, just so we're on the same page, what do you think was Woodley's highlight of the entire fight? What was the one thing that Woodley did good in that fight? There was one move that I thought that it was his only highlight.
He tried to get a guillotine a few times. Like, he would grab the neck a lot to stop the takedown, but that was the only thing that I saw him stopping the takedown.
I saw him doing
decently.
that, but I think that the only thing that the only sort of sense of effort was that fifth round, whenever, or it might have been the fourth, whenever he backed up against the cage and jumped off the cage and tried to throw a right hand at Covington. But besides that,
Tried to do a Superman punch off the cage.
No, he did it. And he landed it.
Oh, he landed it.
But,
Nice.
He should have had that the whole entire fight, and I didn't see any of that until it got
So
too late.
Woodley, what he needed to do in this camp was work on his combinations in his, keep going, like his jabs. Woodley is known for like his strong ass right hand, and really, to be honest, we haven't seen it in how many fights now. So you can't just wait for a lightning in a bottle and never open that bottle.
It just comes down to effort, man. He should have went out there and rolled the dice, and if he got knocked out, then that would have been the same result as this verbal tap that he gave in the fifth round.
And not only that, to be honest, Woodley, he goes down a notch in my book because you're a UFC fighter. You got to die on your shield. You do. You couldn't last 4 more minutes, buddy.
You're a professional.
You couldn't
Finish
last
the
4
fight.
more minutes. Like, yeah, you have a broken rib. Look at the earlier in the card.
Look at Darren Till.
Look
when
at
he
earlier
fought
in the card.
Whitaker, and he had a torn knee and still went on to finish the fight 5 rounds. And you get a rib cracked in the 5th round and decide you don't want to last 4 more minutes.
Look at earlier in the card when I don't know who it was exactly, but she was fighting and she got kneed in the face and they kept fighting. She didn't stop. She could have verbally tapped. She's tougher than Woodley.
I believe that was Alpar. When she got dropped and then not technically dropped, but she got hit and then went down probably an inch off the canvas and then got hit with the knee to the face, and then the ref stopped it thinking it was illegal.
Yeah. Clark was so lucky that she did not go down all the way on the canvas. That was literally bang bang. And when you first watched it, you thought that her ass did hit the canvas.
Yeah, I thought for sure.
And then you look at the replay and it didn't. So it was totally legal. And what did you guys think about that? Like,
the ref has the
Ref's
hardest
not
job in the entire
Doing
entire
his job,
place.
right? But yeah, they have the hardest job.
but I
Next to the
guess
judges.
the Las Vegas Athletic Commission didn't inform the UFC or any outside bodies about the new rule change. The new rule change states exactly what?
The new rule states that a referee can at any time stop the fight, call an official timeout, and consult with the commission officials on what just happened and make sure everything is correct. As opposed to it has to be a bout ending
Sequence.
sequence. Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Also, luckily, they were allowed to look at the replay because the rule right now states that it has to be a bout-ending sequence to look at the replay. Dana White is an advocate for having just replays all the time, you know, because you can tell if people are, you know, being nut punched, if they're hitting the canvas or not for the knee,
Poked in the eyes.
poked in the eyes, just a lot of things, you know.
Yeah,
they need
big
replay.
supporter of replay. Big
They
supporter.
definitely need replay.
Yeah, so shout out to Alpar for taking that. That was a lot of beat. And then the ref asked if she wanted to continue, and she said yes.
It should have been stopped right then and there. Obviously, she got TKO'd, and then the ref should have just called it. He should have just waved it off right then.
Yep.
Any result was a TKO, so
Yes, TKO.
it happened. And
That Clark girl looked really, really good. That Aussie.
she did. Alpar has a wedding in 3 weeks, so hopefully she gets that constructive surgery and gets looking good for that big day of hers.
Yikes. They might have to delay that a little bit.
Yikes is right.
So let's talk about the next most notable thing, our boy Chimaev. The-
Khamzat Chimaev is the real deal, folks.
He really
Mark it
is.
Down. Put your money on him.
The
next
Chechen
fight.
assassin.
Now I would have thought that Gerald would have went out there and maybe tried to roll into him and just try to not stand with him and do something different.
Especially with the guy going up in weight to 185 and fighting quicker than most people.
Yeah, it's crazy because honestly, Mershart is just helping out Khamzat Chimaev's hype train now because in the interviews leading up to this fight, Mershart was saying, oh, he's never fought a true 185er, and I'm a true 185er. So now that Khamzat Chimaev knocked out a true 185er
Knocked him
in
out cold.
literally
And quick.
25 seconds or less with one punch,
It might have been 17 seconds officially, I believe.
the man is a contender at 170 or 185,
185.
whichever he wants to choose. Honestly, the man can bounce up and down.
Whoever
Yep.
he wants to fight, he's probably going to win.
So it's crazy to think this, but Dana's like, well, we delayed the Maya fight back a month, but we might put another fight for him before then.
Why not? Yeah. Keep it going. Keep him training.
Ride the hot hand when you have it.
Cowboy was even talking to him. But that depends on if he wants to go down to 170 or stay at 185.
He can
Cowboy
do
doesn't want to
both.
fight this year.
He can do both.
needs to rest.
Yeah, he needs to rest.
Chimaev wanted to prove that he is not just a great grappler. His striking is just as good as his grappling. And he told Dana, he said, you think I'm just a grappler, huh? Watch till you see my striking.
He proved it.
Yeah.
Huge right hand.
And when I saw him training with Gustafsson,
Gustafsson.
they spar together, and he trades with them. And Gustafsson is now a heavyweight. That is very impressive.
Yep.
So the man is the real deal and should be looking at as a contender in the 185 and 170
I agree.
Yes.
weight classes.
I would argue that the 185 weight class actually helped him a little bit because I think he had more fluid and more energy inside his body.
I could see that.
170, but then again, he's an absolute animal, so at 170.
I honestly don't even know how he made 170 because he looked shredded at 185.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a full belly, I think. I think he has no problem making weight.
Nope.
The man isn't that great on the mic, but I will say this: he's soft-spoken and
Soft-spoken.
he sounds like an assassin. He
from
will
the heart.
eat you up and spit you out.
He means everything he says.
He wants to murder
Smash
everyone
him.
out there in the cage.
Smash him, yes.
Smash him.
Then the other good fight, quick fight, was the Johnny Walker fight with Ryan Span.
I thought that was
Spawn.
Span.
very good fight. I enjoyed that a lot. But Johnny Walker to me seemed like he was a little bit shaky in the stand-up game. Ryan Spann, he hits hard, but Johnny still got knocked down twice in that fight.
Johnny Walker got knocked down twice. The one time he did get knocked down, I will say he did slip.
Looked like a slip.
He slipped,
Yeah.
and that's when Spawn moved in for the grappling, thinking he was hurt, when really he just slipped. And it was all she wrote from there because Spawn didn't get the takedown. He was on his knees, and Johnny Walker was throwing some massive elbows and some hammer fists right behind the ear.
Which that's testament to when you go for a takedown, you got to get in and finish. You cannot sit there and just wait for your
be
opponent
active.
to react. You got to do something.
Did
down
you
there.
guys, when he was hitting behind the head or behind the ear, did you think that was behind the head?
No.
I thought that the first 2 blows might have been behind the head, which to me, the same ref, it was Dan Mergliato who refereed another bout, and it might have been the Silva Barella fight, but he was so quick to say, "Nah, stop, back of the head with that bout," and then this bout, he didn't say anything about Johnny Walker doing it. It's a fight, you got to defend yourself, you can't sit down there. But yeah, I think maybe the first 2 pops, and they were not the knockout blows, but they were to the back of the head.
I think Johnny learned from that first takedown whenever he got taken down from strikes, and then immediately saw he was shooting and was like, well, I can't let him keep wrestling me, so just starts hammer fisting him as he's going in for the takedown.
And in the first sequence, when he had him against the cage and he was doing those hammer fists, he thought he could have been out there, you know? And then, so Spawn was already, he was still wobbled. So why would you shoot in for a takedown when you thought he was wobbled? And then it's all she wrote when you can't keep finishing. You can't finish a takedown off your knees when you're hurt. You know, you got to stay active. You can't just keep taking those hammer fists.
I think if you're gonna try and do a takedown, you need to finish. You can't just sit there on the fence at all. Which brings back Joe Rogan's old talk about how maybe we should just be fighting in a football field, and there should be no cage, and there should be no boundaries, nothing to sit up against like Woodley did that whole entire main event.
The cage definitely is a technique, and
Yeah.
the UFC fighters train it. All of them do.
Yes.
It's definitely a technique.
Yeah.
Now, do I think it should be in an open, arena?
An ideal world?
I think in an ideal world it should, but they would still the fight would probably still go to the edges.
It would go to the edge. For
So
sure.
people will always find a way to use their surroundings around them, Yep. So
out of bounds calls. That'd be interesting if there was out of bounds.
well, if you push your opponent off the ledge, you should get maybe a point or something. I don't know,
I like that.
Yeah.
Fiery lava outside of the
Sumo wrestling. UFC sumo wrestling.
That would be good. Either way, Ryan Spann's coach was not having it. So if we go back and watch that fight, you can hear what the fuck.
Back of
Dana
the head, back of the
coming
head.
from,
Come on, back of the head.
his coach.
Honestly, I didn't think any of those blows were the back of the head. And even if they were, hey, man, protect yourself at all times. It's a fight.
It is a fight.
Yeah.
For sure. Either
So
way,
Johnny Walker's up and coming, man. He is a threat to be reckoned with in the 205
15
weight
knockouts?
class.
I think 15 knockouts,
yeah,
15 knockouts.
TKOs. Yeah.
Hell yeah, the man is a brute.
He's 17-5, 18-5 now.
Switch camps. You saw where his camp is?
His
knows
camp
this.
now
He
is
knows where his
amazing.
camp-
He trains with Conor McGregor's old coach, baby. His
Like
old
Kavanaugh.
coach. Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
He fights out of Ireland, and that's why, honestly, he was trying to strike with him, He was trying to show off his striking power. And,
Still
And the-
exciting. Did a very routine celebration compared to his worm that he did.
he didn't want to hurt his shoulder.
Dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah.
Was out for a long time. And
He
now
was
he's
doing a
coming back.
meditation.
That's good.
Zen.
It was very controversial. So that's crazy.
I mean, the man won the fight fair and square in my book.
It's a fight. Fights are controversial.
Yep.
You're wrong.
A lot of these were too.
So, who do you think Johnny Walker should be fighting next?
I think Anthony Smith. At
Ooh.
205.
That'd be a great fight. I'd like
Be a
to
great
see that
fight.
Because Anthony Smith
What is Johnny
needs-
Walker's rank in the top?
Top 10.
He's
Top
11,
10.
right?
I think he'd be top 10 now.
He should be top 10 now.
Who's he gonna jump though? Because the man he fought was 12th. Span was ranked 12th, I believe. They were right there.
Oh,
So he might
nice.
not be able to move.
And even Johnny Walker said he would go up to heavyweight because he's a tweener as well. And you can tell the man, he's shredded. He got the body, the physique. He can bounce up if he wanted to. John Jones was even calling him out a little bit.
John Jones said, nice bar fight through Twitter.
John Jones, he's something else, man. Hopefully he gets huge. Quickly.
He's already putting on mass. He looks kind of fat a little bit. Not going to lie.
His Instagram looking like he's helping out his community a lot. So that's good.
He's busy.
Good for him. Good for him. So, guys, we didn't ask this question either. Who do you think Covington should be fighting next? He called out Jorge Masvidal and Usman.
He has to fight Jorge Masvidal.
Marty, fake news.
Want him to fight Usman again?
Do you think he should fight Usman, or do you think he should fight Masvidal?
I think he should TK Masvidal.
Masvidal's already got a fight, so give Covington somebody soon.
So Usman versus Usman.
Unless Usman fights Burns first.
Usman versus Burns is up first, and then Masvidal versus Diaz. Was that finalized?
They're gonna do that. Yeah, they're gonna do that. The thing is, Covington, he's ready to fight. Like, he needs to fight right away. He hardly took any damage against Woodley.
He said he wants to fight either Masvidal or Usman. Either way, he's going to be waiting. So we probably won't see him for another 6 months to a year because
Unfortunately.
because his opponents need some time to rest after they fight, which they're going to fight here in a couple months.
Just so interesting with Covington. I mean, I know he's putting on this crazy persona to get the views and to get his name out there and get more popular. But I think he believes what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what Woodley was saying, that he doesn't actually believe that Covington believes what he's saying. But I disagree. I think Covington actually does believe.
After that phone call with President Trump, I think that...
And he about cried?
He did about cry.
Yeah.
I think he really enjoys what's going on in his life right now. And I think he's... Maybe at first he was playing the heel, but now he's just running with it.
Yep.
The President Trump actually called him is astounding. He's, shout out to President Trump for witnessing greatness.
Get out there and vote.
Game recognizes game.
Yeah, don't forget to get out there and vote for sure. I really enjoyed Mackenzie Dern's armbar. She is amazing.
So Mackenzie Dern fought a Canadian assassin,
Marcos.
So Marcos is probably more of a striker, and she came at Mackenzie Dern, wanted to strike.
Yep.
Mackenzie was trying to throw a high kick, slipped on the canvas, and then she came right at her. And Mackenzie Dern was like, "Yeah, I slipped, and that was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
I was trying to show off my striking, and that's the first thing I do is slip." But she was like, "Well, I'm so confident on the ground, and if you're gonna rush me and basically be an idiot, because I'm gonna finish you on the ground."
Marcos
Yeah.
kicking herself for that. She should have stayed up. Throwing
She
hands.
should have pulled. She should have said, "Let's get up." But she pulled guard and she worked for that triangle, omoplata to
An armbar.
armbar. So she didn't get it at first, which shows the heart of
Marcos.
The flexibility.
Marcos. The flexibility of
was
Marcos.
insane. I thought it.
And
I
she
got grossed out
obviously,
seeing that.
her pain tolerance is crazy because she was wrenching on that, leveraging it so well.
Yeah.
Scary. I hope Mackenzie Dern never puts me in an armbar.
Mackenzie Dern is up and coming. First team all MILF.
Yeah, she's
Could
great.
be the first mom champ. Still haven't had that yet.
She was looking good out there. She was looking more shredded than she ever was, So shout out Mackenzie Dern.
Shout out.
She didn't really call anybody out, but I could
Nice
see
lady.
her. I could see her fighting a top 10 opponent now. Next.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice lady, doesn't call anyone out. The fights will come running towards her.
Oh hell yeah! So she can just get some R&R with her kid and her husband, and we'll see her again shortly. I'm sure that was a first round armbar. So
Yep.
hell yeah, we love watching Kenzie Dern fight.
And that was the
Awesome
second
fight.
of the main event.
Every single Brazilian won last night.
Very interesting. Brazil.
Well, there was 2 Brazilians fought each other, so
Oh, we missed
I'll
the
caveat that.
Nico fight with Cowboy. Did we talk about that?
Nico and Cowboy. So what this was just a, they were throwing jabs. They were throwing kicks too, but it was just a good old classic, good old boys bar fight.
I thought Nico went out there and did a great job. Besides his fingers, he should have held them inside his gloves a little bit more. But besides that,
Both looking for the knockout.
Yeah.
Nico was trying to get some good body kicks and finish him. And
Nico
Cowboy
came out
got some leg
strong
kicks.
in the very first round. he just poured it on him in the very first round. He was trying to go for that knockout because he knew Cowboy likes to warm up, and he comes on in the later rounds.
I think Nico won that fight for sure.
Nico,
stupid.
so it ended in a majority draw, and it ended that way because of the eye pokes Nico gave to Cowboy. But how many eye pokes did he give him?
There were 3 total with 1 mutual, right?
He gave him 3 total. So after the third, wasn't the last one a mutual one? Was the last one a mutual one? So did they take a point after his second one? They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't think it should be decided based on eye pokes.
I don't think a fight should be decided on eye pokes. If they want to take a point from him, I guess, but no, I don't think that should have been.
I think co-main events should be 5 rounds.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well.
Because some co-main events are almost as good as the main card sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always, but sometimes.
And Cowboy was disappointed for sure. Nico was extremely happy to be there and to have it a draw. I mean, missed that in the betting odds, but
they both have kids. Nico has like 5 kids.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a tear fest there towards the end when they did the post interview.
I didn't think much technique was going on here, to be honest. They were just giving each other the good old 1-2s, just slugging it out, just trying to knock each other out, which we assumed it would be like this. Cowboy took a lot of damage. He's just really, really hard to knock out. He's a veteran. Nico, he's not really known for his knockout power, so for him to knock, if he would have knocked him out, that would have boosted him up in the rankings. I don't know who they should give Nico next. They're probably not going to run it back because, let's be real, this is probably Cowboy's last go. And Dana White even said me and Cowboy are going to have a conversation when asked about if they're going to run it back or not.
Yeah, Cowboy's been in here for a long time. This might have been it.
This might have been it.
He looked like he was a little too old for that.
He is looking sluggish. Not to mention,
Didn't look as bad as Woodley, but he still looked bad.
He did not look as bad as Woodley. At least, Cowboy, he's an All-American. At least he's willing to die on his shield. And that's why he's a fan favorite. He goes out there and he gives it the old Cowboy try.
He's awesome. That BMF ranch. I watched a YouTube video of going through his ranch that he built everything. He's got an awesome sauna, awesome facilities that he builds himself. Takes his own animals, slaughters, and eats right there. So he's got it all figured out in the fight game.
So he didn't really have a camp for this. He trained at his ranch. So I don't know if he brought in anybody to spar him. I heard he was sparring like 2 or 3 times a week, which he needs that, But I don't know. Maybe he needed like more of a traditional camp. Maybe maybe he shouldn't be just putting it on for himself. Mm-hmm. Maybe he suffered ever since he left Winklejohn.
I think that's true for sure.
Because he used to fight in Albuquerque. Well, I mean, he still fights in Albuquerque, but he used to fight out of John Jones, Holly Holmes camp.
He needs to be pushed a little bit harder.
Yep. That's for sure. So I'm sad to see Cowboy go, but that was probably his last. That was his last go of it,
At least USADA doesn't need to show up at his ranch whenever he's not ready and he has to pull guns on them.
Oh, he's pulling guns on USADA.
He has no idea who's showing up when they show up at 11 p.m. at night and he's trying to get sleep for the next day.
Yeah,
USADA's show up at 6 a.m. and then he gets tested both times.
USADA's notorious for just showing up at the crack of dawn or whenever, just to catch you slipping,
Yep.
That's USADA for you. Another fight that I love to watch was a Holland Stewart fight.
Ooh,
Holland Stewart.
my boy Holland.
He likes to talk in there.
Holland is must-see TV, folks.
They were both talking
If you haven't seen Holland yet, you need to watch him. He just jibber jabs the whole time. He's like, yeah. The first thing he said that I thought was funny was when they clinched up, Holland was like, oh, yeah, man, you're really strong.
Yeah, and Stewart, he looks like he's strong, so he must have
Stewart is a shit brick house.
Yep.
From
that
England.
British fighter.
The UK.
So Holland basically took this fight 2-1. I thought that the first 2 rounds were even, but yet Holland still controlled.
I think Holland edged him the first 2 rounds.
And took a break in the third, unfortunately.
He gassed a little bit. I will say that.
Yeah.
So Stewart had a 10-8 round in the third, which made it seem like maybe they should run it back.
Holland even had a conversation with Dana after the fight and said, I thought I lost the fight, and I'll run it back if you want, because I thought I lost it. But I disagree with that comment. I think Holland won just by the rounds alone. He might have lost the third round, but he didn't take much damage. He could have kept going.
Yeah, Holland definitely won, but and it wasn't decisive.
He won the first 2 rounds, and then the last
felt-
one he lost. That's what I thought.
He felt that third round like weighing heavy on him, thinking that maybe it wasn't that.
He wanted to finish him. He wanted to get that finish, but he is so unorthodox with his strikes. Like, he was throwing jab hammer fists, and he was like, just slapping him in the ear.
I was doing some crazy stuff. I like the hammer fist from his feet.
Yeah,
You
the
saw that
jab
one?
hammer fists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was crazy. You don't really see that too much. It's kind of like Nate Diaz-esque.
Yeah.
What weight class was this? These two?
I'm going to guess 170.
170?
Yes.
Yeah, 170 probably a good guess.
So,
Yeah. Even though in the
185.
185,
Okay,
yeah,
middleweights.
Stewart's so big. In the post-fight interview, it's important to note that he did say that if Maya falls out and you need someone to fight, quote, the rat, I got you, says Holland. So Holland wants to fight Chimaev. So that might be the next.
Yeah, he called him the rat. That's interesting.
That might be the next fight
Wow.
after
I thought he was the wolf. Wait, who was it? You called out?
Chimaev.
Holland
Oh, I thought
called
he was
out
the
Chimaev.
wolf. You called him the rat?
I
Called him the
called
rat.
Two different animals. Well, completely different. What?
He called him the rat, basically calling him a rat because he looks like a rat. But,
Oh, he does?
And Chimaev said he was a wolf because Mershark was saying he's a dog. He's a dog in there. And he's like, well, I'm a wolf.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, he's looking like a wolf out there.
He is.
He is. His hand speed is no joke.
He's amazing.
Great main event.
Apparently he was fighting in the parking lot to get ready for this. So he's probably always training, man. He's probably training in his sleep. He's ready for anyone.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to predict a title shot probably the next year or so. The way he's fighting.
So who do you think how many more fights do you think he needs to fight before he gets a title shot? Say he beats another guy, then he beats
Kills Maya and then kills Holland.
No, say he beats another guy and then he beats Maya. That's 2 more fights.
Okay.
He probably won't fight again this year then. For sure. That's how many fights this year, He won't fight again this
Or
year.
will be the
3
next
fights.
one.
3 fights in 66 days so far.
Yeah.
And now he's going to fight probably another fight before Maya. So that'll be 4 fights. And then that'll be 5 fights. So how many more fights after Maya? I say 2
on
more
his record.
fights. I think he should fight 2 more people. Then he should get a title shot if he finishes all of them.
Okay. I can see that.
So after Maya, I think he should get a top 10 opponent.
10-0 before he fights anybody in the top 10.
Yes, I agree.
Double digits.
I
Usually
think-
gives it away. You got to be fighting.
So
for the
after
championship.
Maya, I think he should get someone in the top 10. And then after that, get someone in the top 5. Maybe, I don't know.
Screw it. Give him Covington.
Nah, too early.
170.
I don't know. I'd like to see that.
There's so many fights you
Unstoppable
can make.
force.
There's so
against
many
somebody
fights you could make for that man. He could even fight at 170 or 185.
That Michael Pereira. We were talking about that. I'd watch that at 170. That guy's
Michael
exciting.
Pereira versus the
Brazilian.
assassin Wolf from
He always doing
Chechnya.
front flips and
That'd be a
back flips in the
great
ring.
fight.
Who else?
So he should fight Gastelum.
Gastelum.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
After he beats Maya, he should
Not
fight
Mexican, is
Gastelum.
he?
That'd be a great fight.
You might be.
Or maybe even Chris Weidman.
I thought he was Ecuadorian or something.
No, he's Mexican.
Okay.
He's a Mexican boxer. So he should either fight Chris Weidman after he beats Maya or Gastelum. Give him. But I say Chris Weidman.
Chris Weidman.
I say Chris Weidman. Because Chris Weidman's great grappler. And if he gets through him, the man is legit. Especially, wasn't Chris Weidman a champion at one point?
Yeah, he was.
So, yeah, if he gets through a former champion, Chimaev is just going to, use him as a stepping stone, and he'll be in the top 5 after he beats Chris Weidman for sure. So, but I don't know. Like, Chimaev versus Romero, do you really think he would beat Romero?
Yeah, because Romero doesn't punch.
Luke
Romero
Rockhold.
takes his time, man. He doesn't attack like he should anymore.
Tell him that versus Paulo Costa.
I saw it, and I thought he still. I mean, yeah, they were swinging, but
He knocked him down a couple times.
Yeah. Anybody could have been knocked out in that fight.
Anybody.
Either of them.
No one's stopping Chimaev. I don't see
No.
it.
He's just
I
a
can see
wall.
Romero stopping
He's a
him.
brick wall, and he's just running through everyone.
Yeah.
But I think he has an easier time. This is just my opinion. I think he has an easier time at 170. I think he should go to 170 because I don't see anyone beating him at 170. Usman,
Big for that
Covington,
weight class, yeah.
Leon Edwards, Gilbert Burns, and Usman. I think he matches up well versus all the top 5. You know? If Tyron Woodley wants to fight again, give him Chimaev.
Yeah, win.
Give him Chimaev.
Willie's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woodley's out of here for sure.
Or Chimaev can just bounce up and down and be a double weight class winner, you know?
He will be. He'll be a
He
double
will be.
champ.
He'll just move.
Dagestan is only 5 hours from Chechnya. Fun fact.
Nice.
So, do you have anything else notable about the fight night last night, guys?
We can go down to the
About the main
prelims.
event?
The main event or the prelims?
I love to see Damian Jackson. I love to see that. He took that fight on 3 days' notice and came out with the submission win via guillotine. That was cool to see.
Got beat in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah,
Getting
he was getting
outstruck.
beat for sure.
Basically, the other
down.
guy got very tired and
Yep.
gassed out.
Veteran, though. Veteran.
And when you
Been around
gas
a
out,
while.
when you gas out your wrestling, that's when the other opponent can capitalize. You know.
He's now 18-3-1, so he's a professional.
He
It was
is.
a guillotine, right? Guillotine finish?
Yep, he guillotined him. He stepped
important to
over
note-
guillotined him too. He guillotined him mount, which is very impressive.
It's important to note Costa's knockout. It's a highlight reel. He kicked that man's head off.
The knockout of the night, to be honest, other than Chimaev, the head kick knockout. You know,
There were 4 performances of the night, and it was that Costa's kick, Damian Jackson's submission, Kenzie Dern's submission, and, of course, comes at Chimaev's KO. So these were all performances of the night. There was no fighter of the night.
and each of those got a $50,000 bonus.
Ching ka-ching.
Yeah, Contender Series winner TJ Laramie from Canada also lost due to submission
Dang,
by Derek Minner was the one fight.
we were hoping for the Contender Series guy to win, but
I took
too
Minor
bad.
because I saw him on his submissions, and fortunately for me, TJ went in for a takedown and then just kind of just didn't finish.
Still
Yeah.
young,
There.
22. He's got plenty of time.
very
to
young,
grow.
very young.
It was a veteran move by Minor.
Yep,
Yeah. I wonder if he trains out of DSP's gym if he's from Canada.
Montreal maybe.
Montreal.
Does he train out of Montreal?
I forget what the name of his gym is though. The exact name of it.
Rasa Asabi, or how do you say his name?
Sahabi.
How do you say his name?
Sahabi.
Rasahabi. Wasabi. You know who I mean.
He's an awesome coach.
Great coach.
So, do you guys have anything more notable about the fight night last night? The historic fight night on ESPN?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was good to
What did
have
you-
great announcing by
what did you guys-
Paul Felder.
Sorry to cut you off. What did you guys think about the they were editing the fighters, like if they would use a swear word or anything, or they didn't like what they were saying,
Not
they
sure
would
why they
just
were doing that.
edit it to make it be silent.
It was on ESPN Plus.
It's on ESPN Plus, and I don't know why they were doing that. They were filtering it. Doesn't ESPN Plus have swear words on some of their things?
Yeah, I'm not
Some of their
sure.
programs, like 30 for 30 on Michael Jordan. He swears in that all the time. He was swearing the whole time. So I don't know why they're filtering the fighters.
Trying to restrict our speech, trying to get rid of the Constitution.
I think,
I guess.
I'm telling
yeah,
you.
but like
Canceling people.
maybe they're just trying to make it
words.
more of a family-friendly sport per se. Maybe that's what they're shooting for. But it's fighting, folks.
Fighting.
We know what it is.
Controversy.
Let the guys say what they want to say. You can't really. Dana White even said this. He said in the interviews leading up to it, the what's it called, the media days, because they had Covington and Woodley in separate media days. They didn't have them together. He said, we never restrict speech on any of our fighters, even if they're talking
Yeah.
shit about me.
Should be like that.
He said, even if they're talking shit about me, he's like, who is more for freedom of speech than UFC? And honestly, they are. He's like, they let them talk, and they should let them talk. He's like, there's nothing these guys can say that they're not going to say in the cage. It's fighting, for God's sakes. He's like, we never ruled like that, and we never will censor these guys. And I don't think they should.
Fighters, you're going to have to let them say whatever they want to say.
Exactly.
Kobe is a prime example. He's like charismatic, knows what he's going to say prior to doing a post-fight interview.
Yeah, he
goes into it.
He rehearsed that speech. He definitely rehearsed the speech.
Advertises for voting too, which makes it even more makes people want to get out and vote too.
I'll pull the mic to your face. Put the mic to your face. Thank you.
Yeah, it's important to get your message out there. I'm not sure why they're muting people. It's not cool.
Nope, not at all.
But in the middle of the fight, you could hear Nico Price when he poked. Was it Nico Price? Was that?
Everyone was swearing out there.
Someone was saying "fuck" really loud.
It's definitely Nico
I think it was
Price.
Nico Price because he knew how mad he was about the eye poke.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But during the fight, you could hear a lapse in audio. You know, they muted it, and I'm not really for that.
No, I agree.
So let's have a shout out from our sponsor right now, Amazon. Get all your needs at Amazon, guys. They're our sponsor for this podcast, and if you want to support the cast, use our affiliate links down below with all the gear we have. We use this Rodecaster. It's a great soundboard, and we use these mics. We just got a couple of mic for $30, and it's sounding pretty crispy, I might say.
Crispy.
And it got there within like 2 days, and we don't even have Prime.
It's crazy.
But if you have Prime, you know, it gets there even quicker. Some days, even 1 day shipping.
Amazon is on it. Anything you need, get on there, type it in, find it. They'll have it, anything.
Use our affiliate link down below for a free month trial. Risk-free. And you can cancel it if you don't like it, but you might as well just keep it at that point because more Americans have Amazon than house phones today, folks.
Amazon's where it's at. Everyone's got it. It's time for you to get it if you don't have it. UFC 253, Adesanya versus Costa. Woo. Now, finally, we're going to have a pay-per-view event to watch, folks, and there shouldn't be any stoppage of language in that. We're about to hear everything.
And our buddy Joe Rogan's going to be commentating.
Oh, we're all excited to get Joe back in there.
Hell yeah, we are. Hell yeah, we are. So, let's not,
Will any fighters get COVID for this fight? This main event?
Oh man, why be negative? Don't be negative, bro.
It could happen.
Just get the voodoo off.
It's gonna happen.
Don't be negative, bro. We want this fight to happen.
I know. It's usually one person. It's not anything dramatic to worry about. But
they should all be in the bubble now, anyways. So
aren't they doing 5 fights in Fight Island back to back to back to back every weekend?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah! And they're finishing up Fight Island with Habib versus Gaethje. So Fight Island's gonna be a sick run of fights. But let's not sell anyone short. Let's just get right into it. Our boy Stylebender versus the Eraser, Paulo Costa.
Right now, the odds are in favor of Izzy at -172 and Costa at 140.
rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
Stylebender.
So it's a
both undefeated.
It's a pretty even matchup. Costa just walks people down, you know, just walks them down, and Adesanya is kind of a counterpuncher, so it's a counterpuncher's dream, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think Izzy's going to walk away with the belt once again, and Costa's probably going to get knocked out or TKO'd in this one.
I see that as well. Now, if Paulo, you know, if he connects, he hits like a shit brick house. The man he was pushing 230 before he started cutting for this fight, and, you know, USADA should be on his ass.
Yes, they should. But I think that's going to be a deciding factor in this one is if Izzy gets punched, can he take a punch from Costa? I don't know.
He's been in some wars already, but if he doesn't get touched and he just picks him apart from a distance and his kicks, I think Izzy easily takes this one.
The only questionable fight Izzy ever had really was Kevin Gastelum, and that was when he won the belt, when it was the interim belt, because Whitaker was hurt.
And Gastelum connected in that fight, if I remember correctly.
He did connect
a few
in that
times.
fight. Yeah,
So
a few times.
It gets you a little bit nervous about Costa. Maybe Costa will connect.
But he does telegraph his punches. We will say that.
Yeah.
He's not as technically sound as other fighters. But when you hit that hard and you have a undeniable chin like he does, I think he can do what he can do. So no one's been able to figure him out yet. You know,
Neither fighter has ever attempted a takedown either, so I don't see
That's
that
very
going on the
notable.
ground at all.
I
No
see.
one's taking anyone down.
I see Israel Adesanya finishing him maybe second, third round, TKO.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
agree with that too. So that's the main event.
Before that, we're going to see Dominick Reyes and Jan Blachowicz.
Another championship fight.
Because John Jones, our boy John Jones, vacated the title, and everyone thinks Dom Reyes beat John Jones. A lot of people do. I honestly don't think he
I
did.
don't think convincingly.
And John was going to have to run it back, and he didn't want to have to go to war with Reyes, so
Closest fight he's ever
he
had,
just
really.
went to heavyweight.
Yep.
He knows that the talent pool up and coming in 205 is getting better, and John's getting older, so
And heavyweights are kind of
Slower.
for fights right now.
slower. Yeah, everyone in heavyweight is older, and your career can last longer at heavyweight.
So
So that's why he bumped up. I mean, look at DC. He was fighting into his 40s.
Yeah. Much older than Jones.
So Jones is going to try to prolong his career in the heavyweight division. But I see Reyes taking this one against Jan.
I do too.
Same.
Jan knock your block off, which
Yeah,
he does hit hard, and he did finish Luke Rockhold, your boy.
New to that division, though.
He was new to that division, and he wasn't a real 205er per se.
No.
But that being said, he still knocked him out. He still looked really good.
Yep. Yawn.
I see Reyes finishing Jan, but yeah, they both said they would walk each other down and create fireworks.
yeah. I think someone get knocked out or TKO'd in that one.
Indeed.
Before that fight's gonna be Kai Kara France and Brandon Royval. I don't know too much about these guys, but what do you guys think?
I believe Kai was on a Tough, the
Okay.
Ultimate Fighter, and he was very impressive in Tough. Did not win Tough, obviously, but I think he's a very good contender for Brandon Royval. I don't know much about Royval, though. It's the only one I don't
So
know. much
Royval
about.
is a plus 184 underdog. Yeah, Kai's coming in at a heavy favorite.
The difference here might be takedowns, as Royval has 100% takedown. When he tries to get one, he gets one. He's losing on a 1-inch reach because Kai France has a 69-inch reach.
Coming off a knockout of Tyson Nam, who just had a knockout in this previous card.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Any other notable fights?
Yes, there is.
Diego Sanchez.
Thank
big
you.
Name.
There you go.
Diego
Is he fighting on the
Diego
prelims or the main
Sanchez?
card?
Prelims.
He's
Hall of Famer.
He's probably fighting. He's probably the what's it called? The main event on the prelims.
He's fighting
Yeah.
Jake Matthews. So it's going to be a tough fight for him. But Sanchez always comes to scrap, that's for sure. But
He does. Did you see? So just recently, Sanchez switched camps. I think maybe the last 2 fights. Maybe he switched camps. He has a really unorthodox trainer. So his trainer recently got him and his trainees all together in a octagon, and they were running around. He was running around with a knife, and he was like, "Hey, act like this is a knife. Run around."
we're talking about
Nice.
Joshua Fabia, founder of School of Self-Defense.
Yeah. So he is running around with a knife, and he said, "Act like everything is a knife." So I don't know what kind of training we're doing at this gym. He's kind of loony, but Sanchez has always been kind of out there as well.
Wow, man.
Emil Meek released a video, so go out there and check that out. You can see a video of him doing that in a closed octagon. It's kind of funny, but
Kind of funny,
kinda
but I
weird
think
at the same time.
they were kind of
concerning.
being serious though. So I
Everything's a
don't
knife.
know what I think about that.
Hey, if you think everything's a knife, you're gonna not let things touch you.
If you can dodge a knife, you can dodge a punch.
I think Matthews is probably gonna be the favorite in this one, but might pull it out,
He might.
or he might get knocked out.
Who's he fighting again? Let me see. Okay, he's fighting Matthews. Matthews is 16-4.
Solid guy.
See, Sanchez is the good old veteran. He's been there since Tough 2, guys. He's
Strong dick to
31-12.
go.
He's a southpaw, and he's fighting an orthodox. I would like to see Sanchez win this one, to be honest. I wanted to see some good old ground and pound from him. I wonder what the odds are.
I'm gonna figure them out.
Check out the bets.
I don't know if I would bet Sanchez because he's always a wild man. You never know what to expect with him. But he did fuck up Mickey Gall.
I would bet he goes out there and fights. However, Matthews is a solid guy. I remember watching him before. But if Sanchez can create some Covington chaos in there, I can see him walking away with a victory. But it's not going to be by KO. It's probably going to be a controversial decision.
Refs will mess up. That's what he's saying.
So honestly, the ESPN Fight Night was more stacked than this pay-per-view up and coming. Mm-hmm. You know, there's only two fights that we really care about. It's the Dominick Reyes fight and the Israel Adesanya fight.
And we can comfortably say that those bets are confirmed.
All right, guys. Yeah, Diego Sanchez is a plus 410 underdog.
So you know who we're betting on? The veteran.
The veteran here, folks.
Put $5 on the guy.
That's not my best bet here. So best bets of the night for this next pay-per-view. I have Reyes and I have Israel Adesanya. And I if I was you guys, I would just parlay them together because both of them are solid fighters and I think they're going to win. And they're not too heavy. The odds are not too heavy. The odds are not too heavy, folks. So Reyes is a minus 280, which is actually getting up there. That's a pretty heavy favorite. Jan's a plus 220. I'm still taking Reyes in this fight. So minus 280, I would definitely hop on that, guys. Yeah, Israel Adesanya, the odds are in his favor. They are minus 168. So yeah, that's money in the bank right there. So I would take Dominick Reyes and Israel Adesanya for my best bets.
Yep.
If you want to get risky,
Yo, wow, man.
if you want to get risky, bet on your boy.
Put $10 on Sanchez.
Put $10 on him.
See what happens.
But we'll see if he still has it in the tank. He's been, like I said, he's been around the block. He's still fighting.
Exciting to get this Fight Island back. It's always good.
Yeah.
Fight Island's always fun. Small cage as well as the Apex. So I'm wondering if the UFC will keep moving forward with the small cage or go back to the old style, you know?
Dana White was saying it makes no difference, and that where there are actually more knockouts and finishes in the large cage. So
There's more finishes in the smaller cage. You mean?
Dana was saying that there was more finishes in the larger cage. He has to go back and look at it, he said, but
The Fight Island cage.
in the larger cage, there were as much or equal amount of finishes.
Does Fight Island have a larger cage?
It has a small cage, just like Apex.
cage.
Smaller cage, just like Apex Center.
Okay. But
Yep.
which one had the is there a larger cage then?
Yeah. Yeah. Vegas, the
Vegas.
Staples Center, all the other places other than the Apex and
Other
the Fight
than the
Island.
Apex.
I
Have
don't think it would make that big of a difference. unless
it
you're
matters
heavyweight.
if you move a lot like Izzy does. Like
Yeah.
if you like movement and you like staying on the outside and picking your opponent, you like that extra feet, you know? Even DC was saying he likes the larger cage.
Yeah, there's probably more room for takedowns.
There's more
stuff
room.
like that.
There's just more room. But an extra couple feet in the grand scheme of things don't really matter. We're pros here, you know? Get it done.
Yep.
So is Joe Rogan going to be commenting the Fight Island? Because that means he would have to be in the bubble already, right? He's already over there?
Ooh, I didn't. Oh.
It
Good
absolutely would make sense
question.
that he wouldn't be commentating,
Good question. He might not be there for this fight. You're right.
unfortunately.
Interesting. Wonder who they're going to have. We're hoping for our boy Joe Rogan to be there commentating because he's the GOAT. Let's be real.
He should already be there.
He should already be there. But you know what? He might be taking a late flight. You know, he might be there.
Moving.
He might be. How early do you have to be in the bubble at Fight Island?
I think it's a week.
So I thought it was just like 48 hours, maybe 72 hours. Like, because you need to get tested once just to go over, then you get tested again, and then you get tested one more
Yeah,
time.
they get tested way too much.
They get tested
12
so many
hours or
times.
something like that.
So I think
They
Joe
need to,
Rogan's
though.
just going to pull some, sly
Joe
shit
Rogan.
and just going to come in late, fashionably late as he always does.
We'll see. We'll see what
But
happens.
hopefully, we're crossing our fingers for that one. But whoever they pick, it's going to be a great card. And stay tuned for those 2 fights at the top of the pay-per-view. It's must-see TV, folks. Again, our best bets are Dominick Reyes and Izzy, the style bender, Adesanya.
And don't forget about that Diego Sanchez.
That's if you're feeling froggy. But our 2 best bets, our 3 best bets from last week would have hit all of them. But, the majority draw is a loss, technically.
Yeah.
But we all know Nico Price should have won that. That was Vegas and the judges
Mackenzie
cahooting
Dern was
together.
The most comfortable bet.
That was a comfortable bet.
And
First round.
I even told my boy Nick Grimm, I said, hey, take all your winnings from the night and bet on our boy Covington because he's a pretty sure bet, even at minus 300.
And I am risky.
And
I
he
was hoping
didn't.
Woodley was going to come out.
I told him.
Woodley didn't show up.
I told you don't bet with your dick, bet with your head. And he bet with his dick, folks. That's a common mistake.
I did make $40 on the TKO finish, which was again not a good bet, but it happened. And so I'd rather be lucky than good.
What
Devin
bet
had
did you
to
win on?
himself.
What TKO finish?
The boost, they had a TKO finish for the main event. It was KO or TKO.
I thought you bet Woodley.
I did. I also bet $5 on Woodley.
So you bet on Covington by TKO?
I just bet that the fight would end via TKO.
Oh, that's all you bet. You just bet either one is TKOing.
Yes, that was the bet.
Okay. Well, that's not a bad bet,
Makes it seem
folks.
better.
That's not a bad bet.
Well, it shouldn't have ended like that.
No, Woodley shouldn't have been a baby
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Luckily, he was a baby.
And betting, sometimes I'd rather be lucky than smart in betting, like he said. So hopefully we get lucky again hopefully we don't get robbed like we did with the Nico Price, but
Refs. and
we're
judges.
2-1 with our bets, even though technically that should be 3-0. So
Yep.
we'll link to our best bets down below.
Shout out to FanDuel, huh? Thank you, FanDuel Sportsbook. Appreciate it.
Yep, shout out FanDuel Sportsbook. Hit us up with a sponsorship.
Bam.
So let's get to fight news, guys.
Fight news.
Big news.
Well, going down the list here, John Dodson was released by the UFC. He was 21-12 and been with the UFC since 2011.
Yeah, he didn't really show much last fight, I will admit. He kind of had the Woodley factor. He was afraid to pull the trigger. He was hard to beat. His wrestling is superb. I will say that. But you got to connect some punches, bud.
Wrestling isn't going to do it anymore for the UFC.
Wrestling's just a base. From there, you got to throw some strikes,
He went up in weight too, didn't he? Did he go up to bantamweight?
Yeah, he went flyweight to bantamweight.
Okay.
10 pounds difference, not much notable there.
Known for being the winner of the 14th season of Tough, The Ultimate Fighter, with a TKO decision over Dillashaw.
Yeah.
So
Totally remember that too.
he's been around.
A bunch of COVID cases recently. Our boy DC admitted that he caught COVID during his training camp for Stipe.
So do you think that played a factor in the fight?
He
I'm
said
sure
he was
it did.
asymptomatic.
So he wouldn't be 100%. Maybe he's 99% for that fight.
I think at the end of the day, if he was healthy for the fight, like when did he catch it?
Why would he not
It was
take
6
the
weeks
fight?
out of the fight.
He was 6 weeks out and he caught it.
If he suffered from it, I don't see why he would have taken the fight.
He probably shouldn't have been training like he would have been if he didn't have COVID. That's the thing. He might not have been in the gym like he was.
He was probably almost done with training, realized he had COVID, and was like, "Oh, I just did all this training. Why would I want to not fight now?"
Yeah,
Just
and he
spent all that
probably
time
knew it was
training.
his last fight. He knew he was going out on his shield, retiring after this fight.
What,
so he
41?
just did it.
Yeah.
But it was probably a factor. But how much of a factor, we'll never know. Also, it's coming out this late. It's kind of like he's using that as a crutch to say why he lost the fight.
If we look back at that fight too, I think the big thing that we remember is he lost that because he didn't shoot. Like if he didn't attempt a takedown at all.
Which
So
means what?
COVID makes you not take takedowns. I guess.
He was afraid to use wrestling. Why was he afraid to use wrestling? Did he think his cardio wasn't all there? And if your cardio wasn't all there, then you didn't. If you're afraid to get tired from grappling, you didn't put in the work. I'm sorry, you didn't put in the work.
We love you, DC. We wish you would have won.
Yeah, DC.
You should have won. You were afraid to use your grappling. I'm glad
healthy. Should have never taken the fight.
he should have took the fight, but don't come after the fact saying you caught COVID as an excuse, you know?
Yeah, we should have known that going in.
And then the eye pokes are excuses too. So you were doing that to him in the first fight as well. So an eye for an eye. No pun intended.
It's a bummer. But moving on, DC is trying to get in with the WWE as a
Ooh.
commentator. They
Good
got a
for him.
Direct quote here from DC saying, "Let me call the matches for 6 months and tell me how great these wrestlers are in the ring. I love that, and I wouldn't be faking it. WWE is something I love my entire life." So DC definitely wants in on commentating for the
Shout out
WWE.
DC.
Yeah, he has the energy.
He does.
He's a commentator.
Good
That
for
seems
him.
like a good next move.
He is very articulate on the mic. I do like him. The best commentators in the game are him, Joe Rogan, and our boy Dom. Let's be real. He's very technical in
Yes.
there with his commentating.
Dude, I like I like Paul Felder though.
Paul Felder's good too as well.
He comes showing up with the suits. Sometimes he doesn't
Hell
wear a
yeah.
belt with the suits. That's all right. We don't mind that. It's
Sometimes
just
he gets called out while he's commentating. He's
Dom
like,
called him
yeah,
out?
sure, I'll fight you, man.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
yeah, Felder's awesome.
Also, Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira. Teixeira caught COVID when they were first supposed to fight. I think they were supposed to fight 2 fight nights ago. And Teixeira caught COVID, so Santos obviously couldn't fight him. So it was rescheduled. Now Thiago Santos caught COVID. And he tweeted out he's doing good and he's going to work through this and focus on his health, and then they'll reschedule the fight. But that fight's on the back burner for now again because they both caught COVID.
Which just speaks to what these fighters, these active fighters, are doing to make sure they don't catch COVID. Listening to Izzy with the interview with Ariel Awani, he was talking about how him and his gym were just in the gym, eat, sleep, train, repeat. And that's all they've been doing.
Him and Dan Hooker were trading it too. Him and Dan Hooker were going hard in sparring, in the paint.
So I think with this COVID, we're going to see a higher quality of fights.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree.
yeah.
But not having as many training partners could be a factor too as well. You know, if you have to have a limited camp, like DC and Stipe both put on their own camp in their house, you know?
Yeah.
So that could also be a factor.
That's tough.
It is tough. So,
I
That was
guess
COVID news then.
we should talk about Izzy's new sponsor.
first MMA fighter to ever be sponsored by Puma.
Pretty awesome stuff. Puma is a great sponsor, and it's great to see them supporting the UFC and MMA in general.
Multi-million-dollar deal. I'm glad to get the man to get paid.
Puma's big overseas, too.
Oh, definitely bigger overseas than in America. So that's a great sponsorship for him, and well deserved, to be honest. Well deserved.
Just raking in the dough.
Yeah. Everyone wants to get behind him.
Everyone wants a piece.
So our boy Cody Garbrandt also recently caught COVID, and
Wow.
I think he's over it now. I just saw an Instagram live with him, and he was promoting his CBD line, and he's ready to fight. He said his weight has always been around like 150, so the cut to 125 won't be anything for him. So he said most of these 135ers are walking around at 170, and he's always like lighter, so it'll be easy for him to cut that weight. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to see that, and I'm excited to see him fight Diego.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. What do you think he does for that cut? You think he just stays down and keeps his weight down, or do you think he gets close and then cuts?
I think generally everyone does it differently because everyone's body's differently, but I think for the weight cut, I think they get around 10 to 8 pounds of the actual fighting weight, and they just cut their water the week of, and then they weigh in having no water at all.
That's
and
probably
then
the more effective way to go.
and then just replenish all their electrolytes the day of, you know? Because you don't want to cut too much weight. You don't want to cut like you don't want to be like at fighting weight cutting before you cut water. You want to be like 5 to 10 pounds of water weight
And then get that water off.
and then just get the water off. That way you can have that. You can rebound with those pounds. Carb up and get those pounds on. But I don't think over 20 pounds is healthy for a weight class. And there's been a lot of UFC fighters struggling with weight in the past.
Like you said, it all depends who you are. Chimaev is probably one of those guys that should not be cutting weight, and it would maybe even help him to go up in weight, so he feels...
He's shredded at 185, and I don't even know how he fought at 170, so...
Yeah.
But same with Mike Pereira. Like, how does that guy fight? How is he 170? He looks like a 205er at 170.
6'1",
He's so
tall.
big. He's so jacked. So, any more news?
Volkanovski denies the UFC offered him a Cejudo fight. As much as everyone would love to see
This sounds like
Volkanovski
the-
fight Cejudo.
This sounds like the Dustin and Tony thing. Dustin got offered the fight and told Dana he wanted to fight. Dana said he didn't want to fight. This sounds exactly the same.
Sounds like it might be a money issue, but UFC... It sounds like Cejudo doesn't want to fight unless the money's there.
Wait, so Volkanovski...
People were saying that the UFC was offering him a fight with Cejudo because that's naturally what people want to see.
Yeah.
is Triple
Yeah, I
C
wanna
fight
see that.
But isn't Volkanovski hurt?
So he denied that fight?
Volkanovski denies that the UFC offered him the fight.
Oh.
So that's just...
I could also see that too because technically Cejudo's retired.
Jim
And they
told
probably
me-
don't want him... They probably just don't want him to do the GSB factor, the one and done where he comes in and fights Bisping and then says, see ya. And that's exactly what Cejudo would probably do.
Yeah.
He's just trying to make a money play, which we all still want to see the fight. Let's be real. But we also want to see Max fight him again because we all thought Max won that fight.
Yep.
He won the first 3 rounds and then he lost the remaining 2. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess he shouldn't fight Max again because he lost 2 in a row. But who's Volkanovski going to fight? There is a lot of killers in that weight division. There really is.
I think anyone that can take Volkanovski, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tank. My boy. Adesanya and Anthony Joshua played Truth or Dab. You can check that out on YouTube. So that was fun to watch.
And
Very
who's
entertaining.
Anthony Joshua?
Joshua, the championship boxer.
He's a
Heavyweight
really famous boxer out of England. If
He-
you don't know who he is, you better know who he is.
He was asked about all the upcoming YouTubers that are boxing now.
He got knocked out by Anthony Ruiz, and then he came back and then knocked out Anthony Ruiz.
Yep. Andy Ruiz. Andy the Destroyer. That's his
Destroyer.
correct name.
Josh was pretty supportive of all these YouTubers coming in. He likes that they're bringing in money, bringing in the not usual viewers.
What do you think about Mayweather versus Logan Paul?
This is less. I'm less excited about this than when I was when McGregor was fighting. But
Yeah,
still, it's
rightfully
something to
so.
watch. But I'm not going to pay for it.
I would
Also,
not pay for that either.
how the hell does Logan Paul get sanctioned to be a professional fighter? When like McGregor, even him, he never had a pro fight before, but McGregor went up through the amateur ranks in Ireland before he went to the UFC. So you could kind of see it for McGregor, and you're professional MMA. Logan Paul is not professional in any sport.
Nope.
So how are they just going to sanction him to be a pro against Mayweather? Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers of all time, fighting a YouTube star. So obviously this is just a money play.
I think Logan Paul's
So-
ego is blowing up because he's training with UFC fighters.
I'm a
and
hater.
Simultaneously boxing
I'm a hater.
KSI on 2 pay-per-views. So
KSI ain't Mayweather.
he's too high on his horse right now.
I
and he
think
needs to be knocked
Mayweather
off, so-
will just
It's gonna
knock
happen.
him out cold.
But I'm not going to pay for it.
Not going to pay for it. And I know what you're doing here. You're just trying to make a money play because you're a YouTuber. And Mayweather would
all
just
about the
mop the
money.
floor with you.
Not impressed.
Not
Won't
impressed.
be. Unless he goes out there and knocks him out. How about that?
And he's
If
definitely on
Mayweather
all
knocks him out,
the supplements,
I would bet
Logan Paul.
my house mortgage, my whole house loan on Mayweather. Maybe even by finish. He TKO'd Conor McGregor, for God's sakes. Think about it, guys.
It's a weak TKO, but yes, he did.
A TKO regardless. The man wasn't holding up his hands. You got to protect yourself at all times.
So yeah, we're not impressed with that.
Nope, that's just a money play, and I honestly don't think Mayweather should do it. It's going to kind of tarnish boxing a little bit.
But if they put it on the same card as Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., I might buy it.
That I might
if they
buy.
did that.
Yeah.
Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Who do you guys got?
Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike. Mike was just on Joe Rogan recently, and he's looking lean and he's looking mean.
Mike's been making his rounds. I watched him on what's that Jackass star?
Steve-O.
Steve-O's Wild Ride.
I just watched that too.
Huh.
Yeah.
And of course, Mike Tyson has his own podcast, Hot Boxing with Mike. But he's been off the hooch for a while because he's trying to be clean for this training camp. So you know he's taking it real serious. And he's doing all the stem cells and all the HGH he can do.
Yeah,
Recovery. Out the
Yep.
a-hole.
Sauna, cryotherapy, everything, you know.
Don't forget to check out those podcasts, get a little bit of a deeper insight.
Yeah, I think Mike Tyson might even finish him. Might knock him out.
Even Roy Jones Jr. said he regrets taking the fight now.
Yeah, he did. He was quoted by saying he regrets taking the fight.
It's for charity, so.
It's for charity, but let's knock his block off for charity.
Quick note, happy birthday to Mike Perry. September 15th was his birthday.
Our
Dwight
boy
Grant.
Mike Perry. Shout out Mike Perry. How old is he?
He is older than me. I don't know how old he is.
I'm going to guess he's 29. You don't know. You want to give him a shout out for his birthday, but you don't know how
his
old the
age.
man
Still in
is.
his prime. Still in his prime. Just needs to stop doing crazy shit.
Mike
He just needs
Perry
to stop
just beats
drinking.
people up in bar fights.
Good guess. He's 29 years old.
29. Yeah.
I knew he was.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Happy birthday,
Birthday.
you crazy bastard.
And Michael Chiesa welcomes about with Leon Edwards, saying, I like that fight a lot.
I would like that fight a lot as well. I think they match up great stylistically. Michael Chiesa more of a wrestler. Leon Edwards, you know, he's good all around. And what is he, number 3 in the weight division, if not number 2? He's right there, and the UFC is stonewalling him for some reason. But he'll get a bout here soon, hopefully.
An awesome fight.
He should have got the bout versus Jorge Masvidal, but they wanted to do another BAMF too, which
Leon
nobody wants to see.
No one wants to see that crap.
No one wants to see that, but we'll watch it.
Leon easily defeated RDA in his last fight.
Yep.
Which was a decision, but unanimous.
Yep. We want to see the 3-piece with the soda, you know?
Yep.
So who do you have in that fight?
Who?
Chiesa or Edwards?
Edwards.
You think Edwards takes it?
Edwards is
Edwards.
probably the favorite.
Edwards should take it.
Would I like to see Chiesa win? Yes.
I would like to see Michael Chiesa win. He's a good guy. He's a fun guy, you know. He's trying to commentate here too a little bit. And yeah, he needs to work on his striking a bit and his pressure. He does the old like Colby Covington kind of pressure-ish game plan, but I think he needs to work on his striking a little bit more.
Yeah.
He likes to wrestle a lot, you know.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
Let's
wrong
see
with
some
that, but
wrestling out there.
you got to be well-rounded, especially at this time in the UFC, you know.
Gotta finish fights. That'll be tough.
Yep.
But our last little bit of news here, Frank Mir has decided to go to bare knuckle fighting. So Frank Mir is going into bare knuckles, and that is Frank's huge name. Van Zant was a huge name they just recently got. Who else does bare knuckles have?
Chris Lieben.
Chris Lieben.
Diago Alves.
So bare knuckles is going to start moving up in everyone's viewer list.
Oh, yeah.
They pay their fighters. That's why fighters like to go there. But I think Frank Mir should hang it up. He doesn't need to be hit in the face anymore. At the age of 41, especially.
Bring back Brock. Get him in the bare knuckle.
41 years of age. The man's a shit brick house. He's 6'3", 260. I mean, who are they going to give the guy? You know, they're not going to be a top contender, but they might be quicker than him. He's 41 now. I don't know. I don't think he should be hit in the face anymore. But
Yeah.
I can see you going to bare knuckle just because of the money play. They do pay their fighters. I mean, Paige Van Zant got $1 million for her contract. And Frank Mir's probably a bigger name than her. I don't know as of right now because she has the whole IG following and all that. But Frank Mir will probably knock his guy out. But if he doesn't, yikes, because CTC is coming your way.
CTE is coming his way. Yes. So that's about it for what we got in the news.
Current
I'm
news.
sure we're gonna see some developing stories, and we're waiting on Joe Biden to accept Joe Rogan and Donald Trump's hand
Debate.
to debate.
He said, let's get stuck in a room with Joe Rogan, just them two, for 4 hours. And I don't see a better person to do this other than our own Joe Rogan himself.
That'd be nice if that would happen, but I'm very doubtful.
I am as well.
I think you would have a good list of questions for both candidates, and it would definitely be unbiased compared to most media.
I think he would ask questions of Trump, and Trump would be like, wait, what? You're attacking me now?
Yeah.
I think it would be surprising.
He's going to go at both of them, and he's going to ask them
Go
the
at
tough
both of
questions that the Americans want answered. And he doesn't, go off the rails, you know? He doesn't waver.
He'd prefer Biden not to be president, but he would have to be, even though he's up there in age. He's old.
They're both old.
78 or almost 80.
Yeah, they're both really old. And that's what we're saying. Why can't we have a younger president? Like, why are they always old
Someone
money?
in their 50s.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn. I think Biden was like the youngest president. I mean, not Biden, Obama. I think Obama was the youngest president.
JFK,
You know?
before he got assassinated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for this week, folks. Thanks for stopping by, and we're gonna have more for you next week. And don't forget to check out that fight. Make sure you buy it on pay-per-view. UFC 253, Adesanya Costa.
And if you want to support the podcast, check out our links below for Amazon Prime. Don't forget, 1 month for free. Also, check out our Instagram, at Highly Misinformed on Instagram, and our personal Instagrams. If you want to support the channel, click like, and don't forget to share it.
You made it this far, might as well.
You might as well. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
We're out.